Hey, fifth graders, welcome to session 13, which is titled Fantasy Characters Are Complex. This is something we already know, so we're going to be doing a little bit more work today with our characters and just how human-like they really are. So, you have already been immersing yourself into the unrealistic world of fantasy. Yes, it is an unrealistic world. However, the author wanted to make sure that their characters seemed real to you. So they had to make them seem as human-like as possible. And we already know that these characters are very complicated. They have lots of ups and downs within your novel, and there's a lot of things that happen to them. So they're complicated. And you, as the reader, might have noticed this because good readers often notice that their hero can have some flaws, or that the villain might have some traits that are admirable, that you want, that you like in the villain. Sometimes it's hard to hate the villain because there's just some things about them where you're like, you know what? I like that about them. So it's very complex. You're not gonna, in these complex fantasy novels, you're not gonna find a hero that's all hero and doesn't have any negative thinking or things that happen to them, because that wouldn't be like real life. And the authors of these complex texts want to make it seem like this could be real life. They've taken all this time to create this fantastical land. They want to make it seem real. So they have to make their characters seem real also. I have a few examples for you guys today. So my first example is from Moana. So she's seen as the hero of her movie. It's named after her. She's the hero. But she does have some flaws. If you've ever seen Moana, you know that towards the end, she is debating. Well, actually, this happens throughout the entire movie. She's debating in her head, am I the chosen one? Why did the ocean choose me? I'm not the person that the ocean should have chosen. I'm not the person who can be on this journey. And towards the end, she actually throws the heart of the ocean back, or the heart of Te Fiti, the heart of the ocean. That's not that movie. That's a different movie. The heart of Te Fiti, she throws it back because she decides, I can't do this. So she has some flaws. She has some negative self-talk within herself. She's not all happy-go-lucky all the time because she's a normal person. And she's realizing, and she's thinking to herself, I can't do this. I'm not this person. They shouldn't have chose me. So those are some flaws in Moana's character. Even though she is the hero, she overcomes those flaws, and we could say that those are dragons that she has, internal dragons, and she does overcome them. However, they're still there because she's real, and the author and Disney wanted to make Moana seem like a real person so we could relate to her. The other example that I have is a villain. So this is Ursula. She's from The Little Mermaid, if you haven't seen that movie. She is the villain. She's the bad guy. Yep. And we know that from the very beginning, that she's the bad guy. But there is something about Ursula that you can't help but love. And you know what it is, you guys? It's how much she loves herself. I mean, she is obsessed with herself, and she just thinks she is the greatest thing, and like she's the prettiest and she's the best, and she should rule over everything. And that's something that a regular person would like about her, how much self-love she has for herself. And that's something that we can admire as a reader or as a watcher of the Little Mermaid movie, is that there is something in Ursula that everyone wants a little bit of. So those are two examples of how a character isn't just one way. They're very, very complex. So today for work time, I want you guys to be telling me, how is your main character complex? How is Harry Potter a very complex character? Does he have some ups and downs? Are there some traits about him that aren't very positive? He might have some negative traits. I'm thinking that in Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children, I think you guys have gotten to this point. If not, I'm sorry if I'm ruining this for you, but Jacob almost leaves and goes back to Florida because he knows that that's an easy life, right? He knows that that's easy. He doesn't have to chase monsters. He doesn't have to live with, going through loops and in and out. So he debates going back, and that's a flaw he has, that he's not always being the hero. There is a point in his life where he just wants to go back to what's easy, and that's a flaw in his character. But you know what? It makes him more real, because wouldn't everyone have that thought? I know I would. So today, tell me, what are some things about your character that makes them complex? What are some ups and downs that they face? What are some flaws inside of them that make them more real to you, and that they could hop out of that screen or out of that book and be right alongside us because they seem so real? Is there something interesting about their personality that makes them complex? That's what I want to know about today. I did an example for you guys about Elizabeth from the Paper Bag Princess, and I'm going to show it to you right now. So here is my example for you guys. This is our proficient example. I'm going to read it to you. So it says, Elizabeth from the Paper Bag Princess is a very complex character. I know this because her traits and behaviors aren't always one-sided. She doesn't always act like a hero and doesn't always act like a villain. She is complex. For example, Elizabeth wants Ronald to marry him. However, she ends up leaving him in the end. This shows me that she doesn't always think positively, even though it seems like it. She knew Ronald had a negative impact on her, and she left him even though she knew she was going to make him sad. Another example is when Elizabeth was tricking the dragon. She knew she was going to hurt another creature, but she did it anyways. This shows that she does have some sort of villain side to her, even though she's the hero of the story. So my examples, it was hard to come up with these examples just because the book was it's a short picture book, and it's not as complex as the books that we are reading as fifth graders. And so I think that you guys are going to have a lot to go off of. I hope you've been noticing in your main character that there are some flaws. They do seem real. So this is your example for you. And then for your reflection, your question today is, if you were a main character for a novel, would you be a complex character? And if so, how so? I think that we all, if you think about yourself as a person, if your life was a novel, if someone wrote a story about your life, would you be a complex character, and would we be able to learn alongside of you? And would we be able to see that this person's real, this person has ups, this person has downs, this person has some flaws, and that's okay because it makes them real. So jot that down for me here. What would make you a complex character? Okay, so today for work time, you are going to be telling me, how complex is your character, your main character, either Percy Jackson, Jacob, or Harry Potter? How complex are they? And tell me about it. Use my example to help you and think of what it should look like. And then for your reflection, if you were the main character of a novel about you, would you be complex, and how so? Okay, I'm looking forward to this one. I really like learning alongside characters. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what you guys come up with. You guys always come up with better examples than I do. So I'm very excited about this one. I think I'm going to be able to take some proficient models from today's work in order to use for next year's class. And that I'm so excited about. So make sure you're doing fifth grade worthy work. Make sure you are using mine as your example today, and reach out if you have any questions. Okay, guys? Bye-bye.